To what would you give each moment in a day if you knew that you only get 4 unique and different days to shine? It is such an arbitrary number, 4 to be sure. But the parameters are set. You know the day of your execution or of your deliverance. This is a trial by combat. It's a day to define you, a day to test you, a day where all the torturous hours of training come together, where it's you, your gun, your preparation, your teammates, and your tenacity on display, dissected by your enemies, with your skill, your will to win, weighed and measured. It is your chance to prove to the world that in this small slice of place and time, that you above all others are to be remembered, to be respected. In the sport of paintball, it will come down to Sunday, the holy day, where you get to earn your place in the game. And in 2021, you get 4 of these. So this is the story of many moments, but of 1 year of what happens on 4 Sundays. At the first NXL event of 2021, the Sunshine State Major, with all the COVID chaos of the recent past and present, the principal questions at hand, both of fans and players, were mostly simple. Could the best teams and players in the game keep their hold on the top tier? And if they could, who would it be? Also a known fact, all the less experienced bottom tier teams had gotten better, more focused. But could they crack into the upper echelon and start making Sundays? All the changes in the offseason, or the decision to not make changes, weigh on the mind as the year's first fight begins.
Let's go! Let's go, energy! Fuck these boys, let's go!
All the hopes, fears, and expectations come alive as the 20 professional teams battle through the 4 games that they get in the prelim round. The top 10 teams move on to Sunday from the prelims. The top 6 go right into the quarterfinals. The other 4 have to battle it out in the wild card round. The rest of the teams are eliminated.
It's gonna be a long goddamn day!
Going into that Florida event, the first event this year, starting at the practices was I was really trying to push the pace, like obviously faster than I would ever get away with at a tournament. But that allowed me to see every mistake possible if I were to try to push the pace at any moment, whether it was in a match or within the points. I remember we played Heat first match. I had a mindset of I'm going to push until it stings me once or twice, and then I'll start to reel it back.
The first top-level casualty of the 2021 season was Houston Heat's hopes to improve upon the 2 ninth-place finishes from 2020. As they lost 2 games in the prelims, they barely missed the cut, taking 11th place. They would have to wait until the second event for their chance at redemption.
You know, honestly, it was my first event with the team, and I'm trying to figure out, like I know all the guys, but I'm trying to figure out what the guys do best. And you really can't have an understanding for that until you really get into these events. You know, how the guys like to play, the things that Houston Heat does well, how we work together, right? You know, my style versus their styles, and, you know, who we are as a team. And we were an overtime point away from going 3-1. We were, you know, a couple of small mistakes away from going 1-3, right? So we go 2-2, and, you know, we lose that overtime match to X Factor. We very well could have made Sunday.
Yeah, the first event was crazy. It was like 10 days before the first event, we found out that we had a coaching change. Had Ryan, after the first practice, injuring his back. You know, we had a couple other injuries. You know, Blake has been nursing stuff. Okay, it's all hitting us at once. You know, we just came off this World Cup win, and all of a sudden we things are definitely not going in our favor going into the first event of the year. We got Skinny Kevin, he slid in, and honestly, Skinny Kevin has been fantastic, right? But anytime you come in and it's a new team, new group of guys, new coach, a lot of changes. You know, it takes time to get used to each other.
It was definitely not an ideal start to Dynasty's season. They went 0-2 on Friday with a negative 3-point spread. So they had to win both games on day 2 of the prelims and win them big to have any chance to make it on. But they did just that, and they squeaked into Sunday. As the dust settled from the prelims and the matchups for Sunday were set, as fate would have it, San Antonio X Factor and San Diego Dynasty would play yet again. Only this time, it would be in the wild card round.
Right now, turn. All right, let's go. Do one and a half. One, do one and a half. One, 2, 3.
Starting off this first point here, though, in the wild card match here on Sunday, and it looks like a good break for both squads.
Yeah, Billy Maracha digging out the snake corner. Looks like Mikey Arena gets out in his mirror, so both teams taking that snake corner.
Before that match even happened, I figured out that Yo Shroud had the gold coin 99. And I was like, look, at some point we play each other this year, let's play for the 99 gold coin. He's like, all right, stars align. What do you know? Sunday afternoon rolls around, they went into 0-2 the first day, they then win their next 2 matches, they go 2-2, we play them. So there's a gold coin on that game. So I definitely was up in the middle trying to make sure I secured that gold coin.
Body going to be coming off, though, as Rainey goes and gets and bunkers out Blake Yarbrough.
I went to their wedge and I shot Blake in the foot, but then Blake kind of looked down and came up and shot me, and I felt like I got cheated, and we lose that point, so I'm heated. So the next point, I go into the middle. That's when I went through and I shot the piss out of Blake, and then he's standing in the way in front of Tyler, and he's slow walking. I'm like, dude, that's my pet peeve. Like, get off the field. I won't overshoot you if you run off the field, but if you do the slow walk with your gun up, expect it. Like, you're in the way, you're affecting the game. Like, get off the field. So he's in the middle of the way. He already cheated me, so I ripped into him, trying to shoot him and Tyler. I then shoot Tyler. Ryan takes off, I shoot him, and then I knew it was his blood in the water, and I wanted to hurt someone. So I went after Urena. I gave it to him. I actually thought it was Yosh, and then I held up because I held up out of respect, and then when I realized it was Urena, I put 1 extra 1. Yeah, a little fucked up.
But a big point right now for X Factor. They don't want to get knocked out in the wild card round.
Jesse Stevens taking the early walk for X Factor. 5-on-3 advantage here for Dynasty.
Wow.
Oh, fast concession.
Well, Ryan Brand, quickest in the business on that. We haven't talked about it yet this weekend because he hasn't had to do it because they've been playing so well for the most part. But
Billy Marachi is going to come this way. He's not going corner, though. He's going to go snake insert. He's got Archie behind him, Rainey behind him. Archie fills out. Blake Yarbrough filling up the center of the field.
X Factor has to start making attempts to move forward and push into these guns.
There goes Billy Bernacci, gets right in the snake. They do know that he's in there. Here comes Archie. Archie's going through, looking to get Blake. He gets him.
He gets Blake and he stays alive.
No, he gets caught.
Oh, he did get caught.
That game never should have went to overtime. We were in great position to lock up the field. It's like 1:10 on the clock. 4-on-5 at this point. I'm like, okay, we're gonna win the match here. We can win the match. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. We die like 3 bodies at once. We didn't understand what bunkers we wanted to be in to kill the most time. But retrospectively looking at it, we were in all the spots to kill all the time. We just did things wrong. We over-gun fought. We didn't trust that we were in the spots. We didn't use teamwork. We didn't work together. And that's what sent us into overtime.
So here we go, about to jump into this overtime period, 5 minutes on the clock. Is it AB Dynasty or is it going to be San Antonio X Factor here in a rematch from our World Cup battle, final battle?
5 alive.
Dynasty prevailed. So
5 alive, both teams exactly mirrored up. Both coaches saw the exact same thing. Everyone's in the exact same spot. Billy and Mikey are fighting heads up over here. Blake and Alex are in the back center. Rainey releases first for X Factor, gets up to the center tower.
So we shoot one quickly. We get a free kill off Marcelo, like not a free kill, but an uncharacteristic early death.
Archie and myself, the entire match, were doing the same bounce shot back to each other, from back center to back center, off of this tall tower, but it wasn't really working. You know, like you could see the paint coming in and you're like, man, it's not really there. Like we're scaring each other, but it's not there, bro, you know? And we would both recognize it's not there and we would try to dip out and get to that secondary position. And the overtime point, sure enough, the very first ball he shoots off that tower drops right down in to the top of my tank as I'm shooting, and I just look at it. And the deflating feeling I can't even begin to explain, because it's overtime, it's Sunday, it's a problem, it's a mistake. It's a mistake, and it's especially when you're in the 2 or 3 position. If you're a front player, you get shot off the break, or you're making a move, that's one thing. And you should put that weight on yourself if you're in that role. If you're a 2 or a 3 and you're one of the early deaths in a big point, likely if you lose, it's your fault.
So now we're 5-on-4. So now we're in the advantage, right? So now I can start probing around. I heard Blake was in the middle. He then retreated back. So I'm like, they have to be waiting for this move. So every time when I was moving around in the middle, I made sure not to touch things because that would kind of orchestrate where I was at. But I'd also look through the cracks. So I could see through the hole if someone was trying to wait for me to go to that gap. So when I go to their side, I could see Ryan looking through the hole. I came around and I missed him. And that was a good ball, but it put him in, allowed me to go to their side, shoot Blake, and then create offense for our guys to play off of. I ended up dying after that from Ryan, but it kind of opens the window up. Archie's able to go down the field. He's then playing off Billy. Archie shoots another guy, then shoots another guy, capitalizes on our move.
Billy Bernacchi gets into this thing for San Antonio X Factor, and he's untouched. He's feeling no pressure, so Billy's going to go
50 now.
Pretty cool.
Billy's got to stay alive here. Mike checks off, looks inside, gives Billy the advantage over here. He's dominating on the outside now.
Again, Archie's doing a really good job of playing off of his teammates' moves, and he's trying to clip out Greenspan. They do shoot Urena.
Oh,
it's coming down just
Greenspan.
to Ryan Greenspan and Tyler Harmon, and unfortunately for San Diego Dynasty, their tournament is going to be ending here because of some awesome play from Rainey Stanzik, Billy Bernaccia, Archie Montemayor there hitting that buzzer. Great job. Also alive over there on the D side was Jesse Stevens. So it came down to Greenspan and Tyler Harmon, Rich, and because Marcelo had that early death, and then Urena got stuck in that can.
It was that close. It was the razor's edge, you know, and came down to 1 point in overtime. And honestly, I put that entire point on myself of being the first to go in that back spot.
You know, Blake had a little bit of a knee injury, and he's been dealing with that the whole offseason. We're like, you know what? Let's keep you on your feet, and let's have you go up the middle, right? Because we've seen you do fun stuff up there, and even when we kind of rotate and practice, sometimes it'll be like, play over there, play over here, and just go up the middle. And like, he knows that he can roll the dice. And this is the other thing is he's played over on that Dorito side so long that he knows how those guys and what those guys are going to do. So it's easy for him to maneuver based on what other team or players are going to do. And again, he takes those chances. So that's our new center guy. And thank God, because I don't want to go up there anymore. I know everybody was funny because I think him in or someone else was like, dude, center spot. This is going to be a great event for you. I go, I have only played the middle one time. That was World Cup. I don't play the middle, guys. Like, this is going to be a great event for someone else.
The other wild card match featured San Diego Aftermath and Baltimore Revo. Aftermath was on a renewed mission. Their last few seasons were mostly filled with frustration. They were on the edge of relegation. But Mike Kidman had returned to lead the team that he founded, and he brought with him a new roster filled with players who had been grinding for years and who knew it would be a hard road to regain glory for the storied franchise. Day one at the Sunshine State Major went well, but Aftermath had a hard time getting offense going and dropped 2 games on Saturday. Their 2-2 record forcing them into the wildcard round. Baltimore Revo brought their best roster ever to the new season, but they had had a hard time getting their whole squad to events in the past, though they had made it to the top 4 3 times. This year represented a chance for Revo to make a run, to maybe be a dark horse for a win, and to finally get on the podium. But they also went 2-2 in the prelims, and they barely made Sunday. This wildcard game was a rematch from the prelims. Aftermath lost to Revo by 3 and could only put 1 point on the board, but this battle would prove to be harder fought. As the wildcard game began, Frank Antetomaso was trying to take ground on the D side, but he took the early walk. Aftermath pushed Joe Barrett up the center quickly. Revo already had Stephen O'Mara in position in the center. It came down to a 5-on-3. Revo was forced to concede, and Aftermath went up 1-0. Then in the next point, after a 5-on-5 break, Revo star Thomas Kim drew a penalty, and Revo took full advantage of the high body situation to quickly tie it up. Start of the next one. Aftermath pushed to the D3 on the break. He took some ground on the Snake side. They were the first to the 50 in the center. But then Revo pushed forward and took control on the offense to put up another point. The score was now 2-1 with 7 minutes to go. Aftermath doubled up the back center and they sent 2 towards the D side. Troy Erickson went up the middle, but drew Aftermath's second penalty. Revo swarmed to put up their 3rd unanswered point. Now down by 2, Aftermath played aggressive. They shot O'Mara going up the center, and then Frank Antetomaso off the D side. It was now 5-on-3 and they were able to close out, with Thomas Kim running in to hit the buzzer. Both teams lost a body on the break at the next point, and they were both killers. Kim for Aftermath and Anton Tommaso for Revo. It was 4-on-4 until Revo's Matt Rulo also took the walk.
They can't afford to go out and play defense, Matty. There's a lot of time, 4.5 left, but there's not a lot of time if you're not playing offense.
Tim Brusselback got into the snake, and Aftermath was able to tie it up.
Those dudes, Mike Kinman, they've been grinding all offseason, nonstop every single weekend. That's the formula for that camp, and that's why they have success. So they were very prepared and they were very hungry.
3:36 left on the clock, tied at 3 apiece. Revo was able to put a ball on Brusselback as he ran out wide snake side, then went up 5-on-4. But Thomas Kim pushed into the 50 on the D side, and Eriksson went up the middle. With 2:20 left to go, Revo had a body in the back snake can, and also the back cake playing defensive, trying to stop Kim, as Frank moved up to get the crossfield shot. But Tim was killed, and Hallberg also took the walk. Chaos set in, but Revo was able to put the point on the board with just 34 seconds left. One point in 34 seconds is possible. Aftermath launched a full field attack, but Revo held the line to move on.
Field off.
Aftermath's trying to do it here. 24 seconds left. Trying to tie it up. They're going to be getting a penalty, though, so that might be the coffin nail here.
They're trying to find a player to pull.
From Baby.
7, 6,
2 this way.
3.
In the quarterfinals, Seattle Thunder faced off against the Russian Legion. Thunder had a clean, undefeated run through a pretty tough division in the prelims, looking the best they ever had, saving close points and playing aggressive, taking down Dynasty, Revo, Level, and Aftermath. For Thunder, this represented a new tier of possible performance, but they had their hands full with their quarterfinal opponents.
This year, this is like a little bit complicated year for Russian Legion. We lose huge weapons. This is Kirill and Pasha, but this is happening because of the visa issue. But same time, we find a solution to find Mike Waring.
Only 3 members of the recent star roster remained: veteran Sergei Sonaiskov, the young killer Leo Smotrov, and MVP Alexander Burtnikov. Longtime Legion member Vasily Panteleev returned, and they picked up American Mike Waring to round out their starting 5. The Russian Legion coasted through their first 3 prelim games before dropping a match against Tampa Bay Damage, but their 2 Mercy Rule wins enabled them to skip the wildcard round.
Thunder on first event show like 4-0 before Sunday. Everybody a little bit stressed and thinking, oh, what they do over there, what off season they have, like they maybe go to cheap restaurant a lot or what, like how this happened.
Unfortunately for Thunder, though they dominated in the prelims, they had a hard time against the Russians on Sunday. The Russians put up the first point with ease, but then the rest of the points had a similar story. Points 2 and 3 were close, but though Thunder pushed forward, the stellar play from the Russian veterans shined. The Russians just kept putting point after point on the board.
This is the do-or-die moment for Seattle Thunder. They have to win this point.
Both teams were losing bodies, but the remaining Legion veterans were outplaying the less experienced Thunder squad, exposing the work they still needed to do to climb higher in the ranks.
I think they find good team strategy. They have good experience, like with old guys, like Coreyfield, and they have young blood, and that's why I think they make good job on first event and beat Dynasty and beat like big teams.
Legion put up 5 unanswered points until Thunder scored to end the shutout, but the Russians eliminated Thunder and advanced to the semifinals.
So far, I've learned a whole bunch just in the 2 weekends I've been with them. I had the opportunity to go down to Colombia last weekend with them for about a 4-day weekend and have a long practice weekend and really learn the team and the guys and really gel. And it's kind of nice. The team kind of fits my play style. The Russians are known for being, aggressive and super fast, and that's what I'm known for being aggressive and super fast. So to have 4 guys behind me that really know what they're doing and have won world championships, it just kind of makes my job a lot easier. It's been fun out here, and it's a learning process, but we're ready to go. We're up into the top 4 now, so I think we're doing a lot better than most people think we'd be doing with the roster that we have. So.
Oh, I don't know about that. You can never count Moscow Red Legion out.
Los Angeles Infamous has mostly resided since their inception in the mid-2000s at the top of the game, always a threat to win events. But the past few years had not been kind. They couldn't make a Sunday in 2020, and they were ranked 10th overall in 2019. But this year, owner and coach Travis Lemansky would field, in his opinion, the best roster in Infamous's history. They went undefeated in the prelims, and one of those wins was against their opponents in the quarterfinals, AC Diesel. Diesel was relatively new on the scene. They were filled with both young killers and experienced veterans. They have more than enough talent to contend. Diesel earned their way into the Pro Division in 2019 the hard way, and they performed well in 2020, taking 5th at the World Cup. They were on every team's radar as another dark horse to potentially go deep on Sundays. At the start of the match, Infamous quickly lost 2 bodies as Diesel controlled the zones, won gunfights, and took the first lead. But Infamous was able to tie the game up in the next point when Diesel drew a penalty, and Greg Sewers attacked up the D side early.
Side of AC Diesel and getting a penalty, so it is going to be difficult here for Hill as he moves up into the center. We got ourselves a 1-1 ball game.
In the next point, Diesel got a shot on Thomas Taylor after the break, and Zach Hill went into D3 as Clint Johnson pushed up the center. But Diesel lost BJ Henningberg to even up the body count. Ryan Hall was then shot off the snake side, and Infamous also lost Cody Mikowski.
Clint Johnson out past the 50-yard line here for AC Diesel, trying to finish off these last couple players, and there they go.
With 10 minutes left, both teams spread the field wide. It was 5-on-5 until Nate Roberts went past the 50 in the snake and got a shot on Thomas Taylor.
Miss with 4 bodies alive in the center, and look at this. So Roberts is going to get one. Let's see if he can get another one from here.
He also got another kill inside, forcing Ryan Hall into a tactical retreat. Hall then bunkered out Roberts. It was a good move from Hall to counter Roberts' kills. Mark Johnson then came through, but as the back and forth battle on the snake side went down, rising star Harrison Fry cleared out the D side to earn the point for Infamous.
And then streaking out wide though, Callie Rudolph is still alive, and it looks like Harrison Fry is going to get in there and hit that buzzer to keep Infamous in this game. It's going to be a tie ball game right now with 8:01 on the clock.
Tied up 2-2. Diesel then lost both Zach Hill and BJ Henningberg as Ryan Hall clocked in with Clint Johnson in front of him on the D side. Hall ran through to get both Johnsons, and Infamous took a 1-point lead. Infamous extended the lead in the next point as Diesel pushed up the center early. Harrison Fry went up the D side, and Greg Sewers up the middle after starting in the back center. Henningberg fell into the trap perfectly set by Sewers, who had, in his own words, been chasing chaos and weaponizing one side of the field.
See if Greg set the trap. He did. He set the trap for BJ and able to stay alive. The opportunities for Diesel are getting limited. They might want to think about conceding this point and preserving the time, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So going to go down by 2 with about 4:20 on the clock.
But it got interesting in the next point when Infamous squandered a 4-on-3 high body situation. Nate Roberts took advantage of a penalty, pushed down the snake side, and Diesel pulled within 1. It came down to the last point, 2:23 left on the clock. Diesel needing 1 to tie. A big moment for both squads. Tournament lives on the line with time dwindling. On the break, both teams went wide. Roberts and Henningberg into the snake, but then a penalty took them both out. Infamous almost ruined another high body situation when Hall and Mikowski both came off. AC Diesel's Mark the Iceman Baginski kept him in the point as he desperately pushed up the D side. Veterans Thomas Taylor and Greg Sewers were able to save it and push Infamous into the semifinals.
Greg Sewers might have an angle from that position to get a shot in on his back. It looks like he's still good to go, but finally getting flipped out of there. So Baginski almost saved this point, but it doesn't look like AC Diesel is going to be able to get it done.
Good for Infamous. You know, they had a rough year last year. They, tried to get some